want to share with you one story. A story that happened quite a few years ago. All of you know what Merkish Shlichus is?
Yeah.
So a friend of mine, he's actually inside in the oil now. His name is Levi Matasov. We headed out to Washington State. And we were there for 3 weeks visiting the community. During the 3-week visit, we met over 90 Jews. So we chose to go ahead and go to the old age home if we see any Jewish people. So we go to the old age home. We go from old age home to old age home, not finding that one Jew. And it was weird because in such a community you should be able to find elderly Jews. In the last old age home they had, as we're walking down the corridors and we see no name, no Jewish name, a lady approaches us. She looked like in her 60s, and she asks us, "What are you guys looking for?" So we tell her, "We're looking for Jews." And she was holding on tight to her chest. And when we said that we're looking for Jews, she let go of her chest, and she had a Magen David there. She had about 60 years, and she burst out in tears. It was weird for us to see such a thing. We wait around, she comes down, and she turns to us and says, "My name is Rachel Goodman. When I was 7 years old, all of my friends were being baptized in a church, and I went along to join them. And when I went in, the priest, the Galach, told me, 'Rachel, you don't belong here. Go home and ask your mom why you don't belong here.' My father was an Indian. He was not a Jew. He was American Native Indian. My mother was Jewish. I come home and I say, 'Mom, why can't I be with the rest of my friends?' So my mother turns to me and says, 'Rachel, this is the last time I want to tell you this. This is the first and last time. I'm never going to tell you this again. I am a Jew, and therefore you're also a Jew.' My father heard those words, and my father turned to my mother and says, 'I don't want to ever hear again the Jewish religion in this home.' So she turns to us and says, 'Rabbis, for 60 years, I've been going from religion to religion to try to find my identity, and something inward, something inside of me just didn't let me calm. When you guys told me that you're looking for Jews, that inside of me burst out into tears.' We sat with her for 3 hours. She happened to be a hippie. She introduced us to other hippie in her group, people that haven't heard of Yiddishkeit in ages. And Baruch Hashem, she's growing in Yiddishkeit."
How many of you are here for the first time? Okay. I don't have to explain to you the holiness of the house you're in, and how special it is to us. Counselors could elaborate on it a bit later. A few moments that we have, just a quick little history and perhaps understanding of the rooms that we're in. We'll start with the carpet. The carpet on the floor was installed after the Rebbe passed away. So many people came in to daven because the Rebbe stayed here a whole year that they just wanted to protect the floor. But there was no carpet during the time when the Rebbe left. Everything in the house is basically like it always was. Nothing was really changed, and everything is the same. The Yom Kodesh was actually put in also, and the Rebbe stayed here a whole year. People who grew up in Grand Heights really had no opportunity to visit the Rebbe's house. We saw the Rebbe in Shul, we saw the Rebbe at the Kiddush, we saw the Rebbe had davening, farbrengens, and all at 770. But the Rebbe's house was really not for anyone to go to. The Rebbe passed away, the Rebbe made his house his headquarters for the entire year when the Rebbe said Kaddish. That was the Tavshin Mem Ches, Tavshin Mem Tes. The Rebbe davened here, the Rebbe worked here, and the Rebbe even said Sichos here, except for Shabbos, we would go to 770, stay in the library, and that's where he would abandon, because you can't fit in more than this amount of people. You notice on the walls, you see that the wall is rubbed out. The wallpaper is actually a felt wallpaper, but the height is about a shoulder height. It was rubbed out all around on the walls. And it was pushed because when the Rebbe davened, when the Rebbe farbrengen, there was a lot of people here, and it just got rubbed out by rubbing against them. So people who come here always feel, besides the fact that it's a holy place, it's a place where the Rebbe lived, so it's a Mokim Kaddish. Besides that, even on a more mundane level, on a more simple level, more gashmisdika level, it's a very, very peaceful house.
We came here by the Rebbe Shlichus 20 years ago. 20 years ago, Shabbos Chazon, which is the Shabbos before Tisha B'Av, is when we came here to Tenafly, and we started the first minyan on Shabbos Chazon. Why Shabbos Chazon? As I'm sure you all know, Shabbos Chazon, the Erisha shows everyone the third Beis HaMikdash. So we figured, when is the best time to start building and make the third Beis HaMikdash become a reality is on Shabbos Chazon. So 20 years ago, Shabbos Chazon is when we started the first minyan. We rented a room in the hotel, which is a few blocks away. And obviously, slowly but surely, every day, more and more now, Baruch Hashem, have minyan three times a day, and every day, uchulu. But I was walking home Shabbos, and I hear by the gas station someone filling gas in his car, but he was speaking Hebrew. So I figured, why would a Jew fill up gas on Shabbos? Must be that his wife has to give birth. What other reason would a person fill up gas on Shabbos? So I started to talk to him, and he says to me a very interesting thing. It's Yutes Kislev. His name is Amir Yoeli. He says he's a ben achar ben of the Alter Rebbe. I said, a ben achar ben of the Rebbe? Yeah, he says, on Yutes Kislev. I met him on Yutes Kislev in the gas station, filling gas. And I looked up in Sefer HaTzatza'im, he's Taka ben achar ben after the Alter Rebbe. Why did they change his name? His name used to be Schneerson. But his father, when his father left Europe and came to Israel, wanted to rip himself away from anything that had to do with Yiddishkeit. He was a kibbutznik, so he changed his name from Schneerson to Yoeli. And this person with his son used to come to Chabad house, not Rosh Hashanah, not Yom Kippur, only Yutes Kislev. It's like the Jew that only does chitas and only puts on Rabbeinu Tam, doesn't put on Rashi. I mean, kind of just such a sug person. Every Yutes Kislev he came to Chabad house with his child, with his son. Why? Because he's a grandson of the Alter Rebbe. So anyway, to build a mikveh, why? Because I had to go from one family to another family to explain to them what a mikveh is and how important it is. That you're allowed to sell a Sefer Torah to build a mikveh. You're allowed to sell a shul to build a mikveh. You're allowed to sell everything to build a mikveh. So, and that's how slowly we were able to get the $1 million to build a mikveh, so we can have the mikveh ready for 13 years. This mikveh has been serving the community. It's the only men's mikveh in the whole area, and a Noshim mikveh, there's also many of them in the area. And then when we went to get the zoning for the school, because originally this building was only, when we bought this building, it was only 12,000 square feet. Now it's close to 70,000 with all the floors and all the rooms. But what happened was, when we went to get this building originally, it was a small building, it was only a little section. It was owned by a Jew, and this Jew didn't pay the mortgage for the building, so it was foreclosed by the bank. The bank held the building. So we met with the bank, and we said to the bank, listen, we want to use the building for Chabad, for a school. How much does the guy owe you? So the bank says he owes us $1 million. $1 million? He says, we can't pay $1 million. So finally, we negotiated. The bank says, okay, you know what, we'll leave it to you for $500,000. And half of the $500,000 we'll give you a mortgage, so you only have to raise $250,000. So we were able to move in, this was like 15, 16 years ago, in the first part of the building. And as property became available, mamash miracles, we had a property that you're sitting right now. This used to be owned on this part of the shul by the BMW. The BMW is German cars, I don't know if you know about it. They make cars, German cars, which Jews don't use. But one of the people that owned the BMW shop was a Jew, and I used to go every week to put on film with him and to daven with all the Jews that work there. So when we had to buy that parking lot, it was a mess. We had to come up with a big amount of money. And the BMW said, you know what, we'll do you a favor. We'll sign a lease that we're going to rent this parking lot for you for as long as you want us to rent it, so you should be able to pay the amount of money to cover what it's going to cost you to loan the money for the bank for the property. Guess what? The BMW rented it from us for 6 years, and they paid over $70,000 a year rent from a goy, a German, to help Chabad purchase the properties. And remember, it's just one mitzvah, one person at a time. Ba'atim teluktu echad echad. Don't go for anything big. Just go one mitzvah at a time, one good deed at a time, and you'll see the Eibusher will help you infinitely more. And only matzliach hatzach harav amen.